Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Battle at Amity Square. Naruto Namikaze, the new Pokémon Master. Alright guys, here I am with a new story for you all, and it is a Naruto and Pokémon crossover. This story was inspired by a fic called Why Leave by One Shot Master, so there will be some similarities in concepts for these two fics, but I give him the credit for his ideas. Now then, this story will be a Naruto x Cynthia fanfic. Also take note that although I find that my English is decent, I know it is not perfect as English is not my first language. Anyway, I still hope that you guys will give this fic a chance and that you enjoy it. Credit to Naruto Wikia and Bulbapedia for the info I got from those sites. I took this story down at one point but decided to put it back up on this site. So some of you may have read it before while some of you may be reading it for the first time. The fourth chapter onwards is new though. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. I have made some corrections, so I hope that it is better than before. Anyway, do not fear. I am not planning to take it down again. Disclaimer: I do not own Naruto or Pokémon. They belong to their own respective owners. This is non-profit work that was simply made for fun. If I owned Naruto, the guy would know a lot more jutsu and have an awesome Kekkei Genkai like the Rinnegan. And if I owned Pokémon, Ash would be the best and actually win something other than just the Orange Islands and the Battle Frontier. Additional disclaimer: this fic will contain lemon and violence scenes. This is a warning given in advance. If you are not comfortable with that, then please leave or read at your own risk. Chapter 1. Battle at Amity Square. Naruto Namikaze was a man who many would have thought to have seen it all. The blonde Konoha shinobi probably thought the exact same thing himself. And as things were, one really could not fault the whiskered blonde for thinking as such. Naruto Namikaze had blue eyes and sun-kissed blonde, spiky hair. Naruto's most prominent physical characteristics, however, were the whisker marks on his face. He also had an unfavorable or rather unhealthy addiction for a dish called ramen and for the color orange. Naruto was someone who could sit down at a restaurant and inhale, yes I repeat, inhale all of the ramen in his bowl within a single minute. Now many people found this to be, well, rather for the unknown of a better word, quite gross. Then there was also the fact that Naruto simply refused to wear any attire if said attire did not consist of his favorite color, orange. It did not matter how little of it there was, but for Naruto orange was a must. Back to the topic at hand. Naruto had seen and done many crazy things in his life, but he never imagined that something like this would ever happen to him. Not ever. Not even in his wildest dreams. Naruto was currently falling continuously in an endless void of nothingness. He did not know where he was going to end up, so he was currently doing the one and only thing that he could do. He waited and waited and then waited some more to see what fate would throw at him this time. Now some of you may be asking the question of how Naruto ended up in a gigantic mess like this. Well, to answer your question, Naruto and the rest of the allied shinobi forces were on the verge of winning of the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. They had managed to pull the tailed beasts out from Obito Uchiha, but then Naruto did not count on Obito using Kamui at the very last second. Nor did Naruto expect for something to go horribly wrong with the technique as well. So now here he was, in a dark, white void with nothing to do except keep his fingers crossed, be patient and hope for the best. Naruto Namikaze was not a patient person. Not at all. Saying that he was a patient person would be the equivalent of saying that golems could fly, and that was, to be frank, complete and utter bullshit of the highest level, simply because there was no truth to that statement at all. It did not help that Naruto could not hear the voice of his partner and friend, the nine-tailed demon fox, who went by the name of Kurama, anymore as well. Naruto was unsure of how time passed in the realm that he was currently located, or rather trapped in right now. So after what felt like hours, maybe days even, Naruto felt a small glimmer of hope as he saw himself getting closer to a bright light. Naruto was not certain of how much time had passed while he was trapped in whatever this thing was called. The only thing he knew for sure was that he wanted to get out of wherever in the seven seas he was in right now as soon as possible. Within the next few minutes, Naruto felt certain emotions course through his veins when he saw the light get brighter and brighter. His body was approaching what looked to be the end of a tunnel. To name a few of these emotions would be excitement, nervousness and fear. Excitement that he would have a chance to be rid of his current predicament. Nervousness because he did not know where he was going to end up, and fear as he imagined what horrible things could possibly be waiting for him on the other side. Then again, whatever was thrown at him could not be worse than a rampaging 10 tails. Right? As Naruto saw his body pass through what he presumed was the exit, he closed his eyes in anticipation as he had no idea of what was to come. So imagine his surprise when he felt his body make impact with the hard and solid surface. As Naruto slowly got back to his feet and rubbed his eyes to get the dust that had accumulated out of them, it did not take the blonde-haired shinobi very long to figure out what had just happened. He had fallen from the sky and come crashing down on the ground below. Hard. Yeah, really hard. However, this was nothing that he could not handle. He was Naruto Namikaze after all, and he did not whine like some giant crybaby. Well, not if he could help it at least. Taking a look around at his surroundings, Naruto found that he did not recognize where he was at all. Nope, he had not the slightest clue of his current location. So the next thing that the number one most unpredictable knucklehead ninja of the village hidden in the leaves decided to do was enter Sage Mode and see if he could recognize anyone's chakra signature nearby. After that plan failed, Naruto made a small checklist of all the things he had discovered in the last 10 to 15 minutes. He still had his chakra with him. He could still enter Sage Mode. He did not recognize any of the energy signatures in the nearby vicinity. Most of the energy signatures of the humans here felt like they belonged to civilians, as they were all very small. There was also a different type of energy signature that belonged to another group, which Naruto sensed that he knew were not humans. They felt more like creatures or animals to the blonde. Besides that, Naruto found that he could not summon toads anymore. No matter how many times he bit his thumb to draw blood and went through the required hand seals, no toad would pop up. Naruto discovered that he could still use most of his other jutsu. And last but certainly not least, Naruto had no idea what had happened to Kurama. It was lucky for him that there was no one nearby where he had landed, or rather crash-landed. To see him doing all the stuff he did in the short span of time he was in this new world, as he chose to call it, or Naruto was sure that it would have probably done a lot more harm than good. Looking in the direction of the west, Naruto saw that there was a town nearby and decided to start walking over there to see if he could go and get himself some answers as to what the heck was going on around here. Thus, this is how the tale of Naruto Namikaze in the Pokémon universe began. Special time skip technique. 7 years later. Alright trainers and fans alike. It is finally time. This is it. This is the battle that we have all been eagerly awaiting. That bout is finally here. Will Cynthia, the champion of the Sinnoh League, clinch the match? Spoke the announcer as the camera zoomed in towards a woman. She had long blonde hair and gray eyes. She was currently wearing a pair of black trousers, a long black coat with black feathers rimming the cuffs and running down the end of the coat, and a large teardrop that was shaped like an ornament on the center of the coat, which was probably used as a button. She was also donning a black top underneath. Her outfit was finished with black heels and a yellow stripe on each of her shoes. For accessories, she was wearing a large, black feathery scarf around her neck with a pair of hair clips in her hair, both resembling two teardrop-shaped objects conjoined with a pale yellow stripe. Cynthia had her Garchomp by her side. Garchomp was a bipedal, dragon-like Pokémon that was primarily dark blue in color, with a red underbelly that covered the middle of its abdomen, to its jaws, and then to the undersides of both of its arms. Underneath the red was a gold diamond shape, as well a gold cross on its snout. Garchomp had appendages that resembled that of a jet or plane's engines, giving it an appearance similar to a hammerhead. It had 4 fins, one on each arm, one dorsal fin and another on its tail that resembled a shark's tail fin. It had spikes on its hind limbs and arms, as well as sharp claws. Its eyes had black scleras and gold-collared irises. Or will Lucian of the Elite Four pull off a massive upset and become the new champion of Sinnoh? Finished the announcer as the camera this time zoomed in towards a man. He had neatly kept blue hair and was wearing a red button-up shirt with a matching pair of reed-long pants. He was also wearing a pair of glasses which gave him a smart look. Lucian was battling using his Bronzong. Bronzong was a large Pokémon resembling a blue and green bell with 2 arms coming out of its sides. It had a hollow body and a yoke attached at the top. Its face could be best described as being a totem pole design. Bronzong had 2 round, red eyes with blue and green irises and a rectangular mouth with 1 visible row of square teeth. It had several darker, rectangular markings on its body. Bronzong, use flash cannon. Hearing the command, Bronzong flipped around and aimed its bottom at Cynthia's Garchomp. It then gathered silver energy inside its body and then fired a silver beam of energy at the aforementioned Garchomp. Bronzong's flash cannon has managed to score a direct hit. Is it all over for Garchomp? It is a spooky maze out on the field as we wait for the results. How will Garchomp survive a smash like that? Spoke the announcer in a mysterious, when I say that I mean really mysterious voice to keep the viewers on the edge as the whole arena was covered in a cloud of black smoke in a cafe. In a cafe somewhere in the Sinnoh region, a group of trainers were watching the brawl between Lucian's Bronzong and Cynthia's Garchomp. Amongst the group was Ash Ketchum and his 2 friends Brock and Dawn. This is just what I would expect from a battle between Cynthia and Lucian, said Brock. This battle was meeting all his expectations so far. It had been full of energy and power right from the start. Brock was wearing an orange vest and a green shirt. His shoes and backpack were blue in color. This battle is supercharged, added an excited Dawn. Who wouldn't be excited watching a match between 2 of the top trainers in the Sinnoh region? Dawn's outfit consisted of a black mini dress along with a white undershirt inside a V-shaped neck with a short pink skirt. On her head, she was wearing a white collared beanie with a pink pokeball print on it. She was also wearing a pair of gold hair clips that held up her hair in front. On her feet, she was wearing a pair of pink knee-high boots with black socks underneath. She also had a small yellow backpack which held all of her personal belongings. On the TV. I don't believe it. Garchomp has come out of that attack unscathed, exclaimed the announcer, who was mildly surprised upon seeing Garchomp emerge from the smoke, looking like it had hardly taken any damage at all from the earlier hit. Garchomp, use Giga Impact. Garchomp proceeded to fly into the air and its body became surrounded by spiraling orange streaks. Then, a purple energy sphere surrounded Garchomp's body and it flew into Bronzong with great force. The power behind this blow was so great that despite being not very effective on a steel-type Pokémon like Bronzong, it still succeeded in knocking it out. That, folks, was a prime example of Garchomp's Giga Impact. Bronzong is down for the count, said the announcer as he saw the referee declare that Bronzong was unable to continue battling in the cafe. The champion is top of the line, said Ash, who was eating a tuna sandwich. Ash was wearing a closed jacket. He was also wearing a white undershirt as well as a hat, a pair of jeans and a pair of sneakers. His backpack was green in color with 1 pocket, and had a white pokeball design with a red button. Ash was also donning a pair of open-fingered gloves. I don't even think that Lucian stands a chance, said Dawn, voicing her opinion. Despite how strong Lucian was, it just seemed like Cynthia had too much to offer. Well, in all of Sinnoh, she is trainer number 1, stated Brock in a matter-of-fact tone. There was a reason Cynthia was the champion after all. Just then a random trainer ran into the cafe with some big news. Hey guys, you have got to come and check this out. It seems that the champion just turned up at Amity Square, said the trainer to his group of friends. Due to the fact that he said this so loud, many others were able to overhear it. This revelation got the attention of almost everyone in the building. As if some hidden signal had been given from above, all the trainers in the cafe rushed off to the Amity Square in the hopes of meeting the Sinnoh region's renowned champion, Cynthia, at some random road leading to the Amity Square some time earlier. It is here that we find our Sinnoh champion, who was currently at an ice cream stand, assuming a thinking pose while trying to decide on what flavor of ice cream she should get. On the other side of the ice cream stand stood 3 people, who were all wearing the usual uniform of an ice cream salesperson. They appeared to be getting more and more impatient and agitated by the minute. Excuse me, started Jessie. Jessie was a woman who looked to be in her early 20s and had purple hair. Have you decided what you would like just yet? Asked James in a tone that one could discern to be hopeful. James was also someone who looked to be in his early 20s and had blue hair. Well, every single one of them looks great, replied Cynthia as she looked at the large selection of ice cream flavors that were being offered. She really did not know which one to go with. No matter how many times she ran the options through her head, she could not seem to come to a final decision. Then try them all and knock yourself out, said a Meowth, which surprisingly could talk. This Meowth was a small, feline Pokémon with cream-colored fur that turned brown at the tips of its hind paws and tail. Its ovoid head featured 4 prominent whiskers, wide eyes with slit pupils, 2 pointed teeth in the upper jaw, and a gold oval coin embedded in its forehead. Its ears were black with brown interiors, and were flanked with an additional pair of long whiskers. This Meowth may have appeared to be calm on the outside like its 2 human accomplices. On the though was a completely different story, as this Meowth was thinking along the lines of something like this. Oh, come on already. What is wrong with this woman? It has been 2 freaking hours and she still can't decide. Somebody save me before I go crazy. I knew humans were weird, but this is just nuts, thought the Meowth, inwardly praying for Cynthia to make up her mind. I would love to try them all, but then where would I put all the ice cream? Replied Cynthia, which caused Jessie, James and Meowth to sweet drop at her reply. Suddenly there was the noise of angels singing, telling Jessie, James and Meowth that something good was about to happen. I know. I will take a triple cone with chocolate, mint, strawberries, cookies and cream, exclaimed Cynthia with a small amount of delight, having finally made her choice. And with that, she was off again, on her way to the Amity Square, having collected her beloved ice cream. It seemed that Meowth's prayers had been answered after all. As Cynthia was walking away from the ice cream stand, one thought was on the minds of Jessie, James and Meowth. Finally, good riddance. Don't come back. Those were the thoughts that were shared by the trio of Team Rocket grunts at the Amity Square. Cynthia was currently inspecting a stone tablet, which had pictures of the legendary Dialga and Palkia on it. While licking her ice cream cone, she was being watched intently by several trainers and passerby whom had also gathered there, mainly due to her. This was the scene that Ash, Dawn and Brock walked in on. So that's her, Cynthia the champion, said Ash as he took a close look at Cynthia. She is even more ravishing live than on TV. I should be in her arms instead of some stupid ice cream, said Brock, acting like a Growlithe or Arcanine in heat, as some drool began to escape his mouth. Sometimes I worry for you, Brock, replied Dawn as she let out a sigh at her friend's antics. Would Brock ever change? Just then an unknown man walked past them. He had blue eyes and blonde, spiky hair. He also had 3 whisker marks on each one of his cheeks. He had cropped his hair short and was wearing simple black elastic headband. He was wearing a black uniform-style jacket with an orange zipper that featured several buttons on the waist and sleeves, allowing him to fold up the left sleeve and rear coattails. He was also wearing a red armband with the crest of the renowned Uzumaki clan sewn onto it on his left arm, and also had another one on his right arm. Are you Cynthia? Asked the man. Yes, I am. Who wants to know? Said a now slightly curious Cynthia as she turned around to face this man. My name is Naruto Namikaze and I would like to challenge you to a battle, he replied in a firm tone, showing that he was dead serious. This shocked most of the members of the crowd of people nearby and angered one boy with purple hair who went by the name of Paul. Paul was not having a good day. He was planning on challenging the Sinnoh champion himself, and thus he had rushed over here only to see someone else challenge her before him. Yes, Paul was not happy. It has been a while since I have taken a field challenge, mused Cynthia to herself. Are you competing in the Sinnoh League this year? Yes, that's right. I am, he replied. I see. Fine, then I accept your challenge, said Cynthia with a bright smile. She had decided to humor this person and let him have a go at her. It would also give her chance to enjoy a non-competitive battle, something that she hadn't done in some time with the spectators. The champion is going to battle him. Unbelievable. She couldn't decide what ice cream to have, spoke Jessie, who had come here with James and Meowth, seeing that there was a big crowd gathered. But she didn't think twice about challenging this new twerp, added James. I guess champions must be weird like that, concluded Meowth. Meowth still wasn't too joyful about the fact that Cynthia had wasted half of its day by making it wait because she did not know what ice cream to have with Cynthia and Naruto. Do you mind if we battle with just one Pokemon each? A full battle will take quite some time. Against someone like you even this could prove to be quite taxing, said Naruto. Author note: I am not in the mood to write a large battle right now. Maybe in later chapters. No problem, replied Cynthia in a cheery manner. She was completely fine with this. Now then, let's get this battle underway. Garcomp, battle dance, said Cynthia as she let out her prized Garcomp with the spectators. Wow, there is Garcomp again, said Ash as he scanned the Sinnoh champion's Pokémon with his Pokédex. Garcomp, the dragon and ground pseudo-legendary Pokémon. When it folds up its wings, it can fly like a jet plane at the speed of sound, said the mechanical voice of Ash's Pokédex with Naruto and Cynthia. Dragonite, I am in need of your assistance, said Naruto as he let out his Dragonite. Dragonite was a draconic, bipedal Pokémon with light orange skin. It had large, grayish-green eyes and a round snout with small nostrils. A pair of long, thin antennae sprouted from the top of its head, with a small horn set in between them. Its striated underbelly was cream-colored, and extended from its neck to the tip of its long, tapering tail. It had thick arms and legs ending in 3 claws each. Its leg joints were well defined, while its arms had a smooth, rounded appearance. Dragonite's wings were small relative to its body, with teal wing membranes. A Dragonite, ha! Yes, a strong Pokémon indeed. Dragonite against Garcomp will make for a fine matchup. Naruto, you may have the first move, spoke Cynthia as she kindly allowed Naruto to kick things off. Thanks. Dragonite, start off with Dragon Dance. Cynthia narrowed her eyes slightly. She had offered this trainer the first strike and this is what he had chosen to do. Granted, Dragon Dance did boost the user's speed and attack, but then this was still not something she expected. Cynthia opted to wait and see what this guy planned to do next. Now use Hone Claws. Cynthia was now getting tired of waiting. If this guy did not want to make the first move, then she would use Flamethrower Garcomp. Garcomp released an orange stream of fire at the Naruto's Dragonite from its mouth. However, Naruto did not seem bothered by this. He calmly called out his next command. Use Protect. A blue force field surrounded Dragonite's body, protecting it from the Flamethrower. Garcomp, use Dragon Rush. Garcomp flew into the air and then aimed at Naruto's Dragonite as the 2 appendages on Garcomp's head began to glow light blue. Then, its body became enveloped in a light blue aura with the same color streaks as it prepared to slam into Naruto's Dragonite with full force with the spectators. Why is Dragonite just standing there? Asked Ash. It did not make any sense to him. Shouldn't that Dragonite at least try to dodge or get out of the way? Dragon Rush is a move that focuses the user's body into a weapon that strikes with incredible power. Any opponent loses its ability to escape from it, explained Brock. This caused Ash's face to light up in understanding. That guy's Dragonite is in trouble now, thought Paul as he looked on from his spot in the crowd, wanting to see how this guy would respond with Naruto and Cynthia. As Garcomp approached, Naruto simply smirked. Time for strike 1. Thought the blonde-haired former shinobi. Who needs to dodge? Not me. Dragonite, stand your ground and prepare to stop the Dragon Rush, said Naruto without even the slightest hint of worry in his voice. Dragonite took up a stance before catching the quickly approaching Garcomp with its 2 arms. Dragonite then went skidding backwards for a few seconds before coming to a stop, showing that it had succeeded with the spectators. I don't believe it. He managed to block the Dragon Rush, gasped Dawn. She had not expected something like this at all. That Dragonite is clearly very strong, stated Brock. That was probably an understatement, a huge one at that with Naruto and Cynthia. Naruto had that Garcomp right where he wanted it. Now it was time to strike. Dragonite, use Toxic. Dragonite released a stream of thick purple liquid from its mouth at Garcomp. Upon making contact, the liquid poisoned the dragon and ground-type Pokémon. Cynthia winced seeing this. Toxic was not your everyday giant killing attack, but it was still deadly and lethal nonetheless. Unlike other poison moves, the effects of Toxic would continue to increase with time. This meant one thing. She had to end this battle, quickly. At the same time, she also had to be careful. This trainer was not one to be underestimated. He had proved that by the way he was battling so far. He had done his homework and not come unprepared. Cynthia was about to call out her next move, but he called his first. Use Hurricane. Dragonite's wings began to glow light blue and it flapped them, releasing a powerful gust of wind that hit Garchomp and flew up into the sky. When Garchomp came out of the attack, it did not look completely normal. It took Cynthia a few moments to figure out what had happened, and when she did not like it one bit with the spectators. Something is off. Why does Garchomp look like that? Asked Ash. He did not know how to say it, but that Garchomp looked like it had just come out from a giant vacuum. Yeah, it almost looks dizzy, added Dawn. I think I know what happened. Many people know that Hurricane is a damage-dealing flying type move. What most people do not know is that this move also has another purpose. It has a chance of confusing the opponent should the attack manage to hit, lectured Brock, shedding some new light on this matter. So in other words, this guy fights using moves that have multiple uses. He is not your average run-off-the-mill trainer, that is for sure, thought Paul as he watched the battle taking place with a cold and calculating gaze. Paul couldn't help but feel a tiny little pang of jealousy as he was watching Naruto battle. Part of that was due to the simple fact that Paul knew that he was not on the same level as the two trainers that were engaged in battle right now. That did not mean that Paul was going to admit it, not if he could help it at least. His pride would not allow it with Naruto and Cynthia. Today is not my lucky day. First this guy hits us with a toxic attack, and then he follows it up by using a move like Hurricane that ends up confusing Garchomp. I might actually end up losing this battle if he plays all of his cards right, thought Cynthia, who was starting to get a little worried about the direction this battle was heading in. Come on Garchomp, snap out of it and use Rock Slide. The plea fell to deaf ears as Garchomp was too confused to carry out the order. Seeing this as a chance to get in a few more hits and deal some extra damage, Naruto called out his next move, Dragonite. Use Hurricane once more, then follow it up with Fire Blast. Dragonite's wings began to glow light blue again, and like the last time it flapped them, releasing a powerful gust of wind that hit Garchomp flat on and flew up into the sky. Dragonite then took to sky after Garchomp. Once Dragonite was in front of Garchomp, it caught onto the dragon and ground Pokémon before taking in a deep breath and releasing a powerful font face equals Nimbus Mono L. Mana space Span Lang equals ZHCN Spanfant. Shaped blast of orange fire from its mouth, it said Garchomp with the spectators. I don't think I have ever seen a fire blast done from that close range before, said Brock. This was something new to him. This guy's last combo was pretty good as well. He used the wind from the Hurricane attack and used it to amplify the power of his fire blast. If he took part in a contest, I think he would do well, added Dawn. I want to battle this guy, chirped an enthusiastic Ash. This caused Brock to grin at him, knowing that Ash would always be Ash. Even now he was still eager to battle strong opponents. Considering the type of person Ash was, he would probably pester this Naruto until he agreed to battle him with Naruto and Cynthia. Garchomp, try and use Dragon Rage, called out Cynthia. Fortunately for the Sinnoh champion, by this time Garchomp had snapped out of its confusion, and so Naruto's Dragonite was not expecting it when Garchomp opened its mouth and fired a red-orange fireball from said mouth at it, allowing it to hit the dragon and flying type straight in the face. Seeing that she now had an opening to work with, Cynthia decided to make the most of it. Garchomp, follow it up with Dragon Rush. As Garchomp was flying halfway to Naruto's Dragonite, which was still slightly disoriented from the Dragon Rage to the face earlier, Naruto called out his counter. You use Dragon Rush as well. Almost instantly Dragonite's body became surrounded in a light blue orb with white streaks. Its horn glowed blue and released a dragon-shaped energy that covered its body. It then, like Cynthia's Garchomp, prepared to slam into its opponent with full force. As the two Dragon Rushes met in midair, a small explosion rocked the surrounding area, and the nearby spectators had to shield their eyes to prevent all the dust that had accumulated from getting into it with the spectators. So strong, muttered Dawn in awe when she saw the two dragons that had just clashed with each other. Those two dragons are crazy, exclaimed Ash, completely excited, seeing the best battle he ever saw for some time. After all, it was not every day that you could see a champion class battle up live. You can still feel the shockwave from their clash. This is insane, added Brock. He couldn't help but shake his head in disbelief. Just what kind of training did these two put their Pokémon through in the first place to get to this level, pondered Brock in his mind. While these two make the twerp seem weak, said Jesse, a little scared. No kidding, confirmed James while wiping away a bead of cold sweat from his forehead, which had appeared since the battle had started. The tension in the air was really thick after all. In fact, it was so thick that you could cut it with an air slash. If those two Pokémon hit me with something like that, then I would be squashed flat faster than you can say Team Rocket, said Meowth, adding his 2 cents, a bit shaken from the thought with Naruto and Cynthia. As the smoke from the collision slowly began to clear, Cynthia could see that her opponent's Dragonite was slowly falling towards the ground. Cynthia managed to deduce that her Garchomp had come out on top in that clash of moves, and now Naruto's Dragonite was now wide open. Not wanting to waste the opportunity and look a gift horse in the mouth, Cynthia decided to pounce while the iron was still hot. Now Garchomp, use Stone Edge. Cynthia's Garchomp, who was still floating in the sky, crouched its body and 2 rings of glowing light blue rocks appeared and spun around its body. Then, multiple gray rocks were released from the rings at Dragonite. The attack was a direct hit and it inflicted tons of damage. It also sent Naruto's Dragonite plummeting to the ground at an even faster speed. However, unlike many others expected him to be, Naruto Namikaze was far from worried. In fact, he still had a calm look plastered on his face as he stared at the falling form of his Dragonite. The next words that he said, no one in the surrounding area could comprehend. Dragonite, prepare formation E, was the simple command given out by Naruto Namikaze. Cynthia, although not sure of what her opponent was planning, was on high alert. She knew better than to underestimate someone of his caliber, especially after all the stuff he had pulled off today already. So imagine her surprise when the Dragonite made no attempt whatsoever to move and simply crash-landed onto the ground below. Seeing this, she let her guard down. It was a huge mistake. Naruto was smirking yet again. Niji team, this move is dedicated to you, thought Naruto as the image of a certain deceased Hyuga who kept blabbering about fate when he was younger came to his mind. Cynthia's guard was down, so naturally she and her Garchomp, which had now landed on the ground, were not expecting it when Naruto's Dragonite emerged from underground with its tail stuck out and a small water stream spiraling around said tail. Dragonite proceeded to whip around, slamming its tail into the unsuspecting Garchomp. Aqua Tail success, said Naruto with a fist pump. Cynthia, who was caught off guard by this, looked over to the spot where Dragonite had supposedly landed to see that it really was not there anymore. But how? What happened just now, thought Cynthia as she tried to think of what Naruto could have possibly done. Are you surprised? Well then, kindly allow me to enlighten you. When my Dragonite landed earlier, there was a minor dust cloud which was kicked up due to the impact of my Dragonite's crash. I anticipated something like this to happen, due to the height and speed of which my Dragonite was falling from. So I told my Dragonite to set up a combo which we have practiced several times before. As soon as your vision was obscured by the dust cloud, my Dragonite moved underground using dig and quickly prepared to hit your Garchomp with an Aqua Tail when you would least expect it, explained Naruto as if what he had done was a normal thing. Naturally, when Cynthia heard this, she was gaping like a fish out of water due to her slip-up. I was careless when let my guard down. He took full advantage of it. I cannot let something like that happen again. It could cost me the match. Garchomp has already taken enough damage from the toxic. A clean hit or two more like that and the two of us are in big trouble, thought Cynthia. See Niji team. Just like what I did to you at the Chunin exams in Konoha all those years ago. I hope you are watching wherever you are out there, thought Naruto as he remembered one of his most memorable fights during his younger days. It was when he won this match that he had proven many others wrong and showed them that he was not a failure with the spectators. That was just, I don't know what to say, stammered Ash, at a loss for words. That was incredible, muttered Paul in a low voice as he clenched his fists in jealousy. Of course, Ash heard his voice and turned in the direction where he heard it. Hey Paul, when did you get here? Asked a curious Ash. When Brock and Dawn heard this, they also turned around and were now facing Paul as well. I was here the whole time. It is just that you people were too ignorant to notice me in the first place, mocked Paul. Jerk, thought Ash. Don and Brock at the same time with Naruto and Cynthia. I have to tread very cautiously from now on in this fight. I can't afford any more mistakes or it will come back to bite me in the butt. Now what to do? Do I wait for him to make the next move or do I make it myself? The clock is ticking. What to do? What to do? Pondered Cynthia in thought. Garcomp. Use flamethrower, called out Cynthia. Okay, now hopefully this gives me an opening when he reacts. Use sandstorm and send the flamethrower back where it came from, replied Naruto in a calm tone of voice. Dragonite began to wave its arms and created a sand tornado that it launched at the flamethrower before sending it back in the direction of Garcomp. As Cynthia saw the approaching flamethrower enhanced sandstorm, she knew it was now a crucial time in the match. It is all or nothing now. Please let this work, pleaded Cynthia internally. Garcomp, use Giga Impact. As many members of the crowd had seen during the television broadcast earlier that day, Garcomp's body became surrounded by spiraling orange streaks. Then, a purple energy sphere surrounded Garcomp's body and it flew at Dragonite, speeding through the sandstorm like it was nothing, and heading towards its target. Seeing the incoming Garcomp, which looked like a purple missile, Naruto knew that there was not enough time to dodge and thus he realized that he had to do something to lessen the damage so his Dragonite could make it through this. Dragonite, use Protect. With the defense set, Naruto waited with bated breath to see if it would be enough. As Garcomp's body made contact with the Protect barrier, the barrier shattered and Dragonite was sent flying backwards before landing on the hard floor with the spectators. What just happened? Cynthia's Garcomp just breezed through the barrier and the sandstorm like they were nothing. It is simply phenomenal, gasped Dawn. This battle just kept surprising her time and time again. What can you say? She is the champion, muttered an astonished Ash who was struggling to find his voice right now. Most of the spectators were so taken back by what just happened that they did not notice the smug look on Naruto's face that practically yelled, I have won. With Naruto and Cynthia. That did it. It's over. His Dragonite is finished, thought Cynthia in triumph. Unfortunately for the Sinnoh champion, that feeling was replaced with the feeling of shock when Dragonite slowly began to get up. But how? Stammered a stunned Cynthia. She was not alone in this aspect. A majority of the crowd were having similar thoughts. The Protect may not have been strong enough, but it did manage to reduce the damage that the Giga Impact would have caused, so in the end it served its purpose, thought Naruto as he gave himself a pat on the back for his quick thinking. Cynthia was snapped out of her state of shock as Naruto spoke up. I am afraid that it is time to end this. This battle has dragged on for long enough, I feel. Dragonite, use Horn Drill and wrap this up, said Naruto. Dragonite's horn began rotating like a drill as it flew towards Garcomp at high speeds. As soon as the attack made contact, Garcomp was down and knocked out. Giga Impact is a strong move. However, along with being one of Garcomp's strengths, it is also one of its greatest weaknesses, as it leaves Garcomp defenseless against attacks for a short period of time after the Giga Impact has been launched. So if your opponent has a Pokémon with a one-hit KO move, then it is all over, explained Naruto, a giant smirk on his face. Complete silence reigned over the area for the next few minutes. It was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. The deafening silence was soon replaced by the loud cheers of the surrounding spectators, with the spectators. I see, but I don't believe it. He did it. He took down the champion's prized Garcomp, said one spectator. It is inconceivable. He is on another level compared to us. He rocks, said another spectator. Both spectators blinked their eyes several times to make sure that their organs of sight were not playing tricks on them with Naruto and Cynthia. Cynthia looked on at the spot where her Garcomp had fallen just moments ago. He beat me fair and square. When my friends hear about this, they are never going to let me live this down, ever, thought Cynthia as she saw her opponent approaching her. When he was 2 feet away from her, Naruto extended his hand for her to shake, which she took, of course. That was a truly great battle, Cynthia. You are as strong as you are beautiful. I really enjoyed myself out there today. I hope that we can battle again in the distant future, said Naruto with a warm smile on his face. If people were to take closer look they would be able to spot a faint blush on Cynthia's cheeks. What I am doing? Why on earth am I blushing, thought Cynthia as she quickly fought down her blush and gave her opponent, Naruto, the same warm smile that he gave her. When Naruto saw her smile, he felt a sense of warmth in the pit of his stomach. He didn't know why, but he felt entranced by that smile. I would love to do battle with you again as well, Naruto. You are a truly fine opponent, replied a now much happier Cynthia. End chapter. So that concludes the first chapter of this fic. Few things to state again. Do not worry about what Naruto did in those last 7 years when he first arrived in this new dimension. Some of that will be explained in the second chapter and the rest will be explained slowly as the story progresses. Now for ages. Naruto, 23. When he entered the Pokémon universe he was 16. So now after 7 years he is 23. Cynthia, 23. I made her the same age as Naruto so it would be easier to pair the two of them up. Ash, 14. Brock, 17. Dawn, 11. Now another few things to say. 1. Do not bother flaming as I will ignore you too. If you tell me kindly how to improve then I am okay with it and will accept the criticism with an open mind. 3. If you all are wondering how Dragonite used Dig then that will be answered in the second chapter of this story. 4. I need you guys to give me some ideas for Naruto and Cynthia's relationship, like how I can make them get close and what events can build and strengthen a bond between the two of them. 5. As for update times, it depends on how much free time I have. Personally I do not feel the need to rush and update. It would just reduce the quality of the storyline. I am going to take my time and plan so updates times will never be fixed. That is all. I hope you have enjoyed reading this chapter and I wish you all the best. Peace.